Imagine if you would have gone and bought beachfront property in like Manhattan or the Hamptons back when it was really cheap. It's essentially what the equivalent of getting all of the real estate that exists on Amazon is. So in this video, I just want to tell you guys how I think about Amazon and the search results as real estate. Now, it's not as stable where you get to just buy it and keep the deed and nobody else can take it from you. But there's ways that you can protect it. And as long as you've got that spot and you do your work to make sure that you maintain it, it'll keep paying you dividends just like all of that other real estate and will continue to appreciate. Okay, so the first concept is essentially, let's say we were going to have a brick and mortar store. The most important thing to them, and actually the most valuable asset, is not necessarily their brand or their store. It was their real estate. Where are the customers coming through? The companies actually went bankrupt. I think it was Sears or whatnot, but the most valuable asset they had left at the end was their prime retail locations. So, but things work a little bit differently on Amazon. You see, it's not like there's just putting your product in the right spot in one spot. There's potentially 200 paths that people come to see your product. So we know that 50% of product searches in the world start at the Amazon search bar. Okay, so essentially now everybody's going to be typing in keywords, and your goal is to find as many of those keywords and to become relevant and the best product for those that you actually get a good market fit for. And then if you optimize and you run your PPC and you do all the other things that you can do to get the most sales through those and optimize for those, you're going to get a foothold and essentially grab some of the most valuable real estate that exists in the digital world. Now, it's not the physical world, but as we go in more and more, everybody's going to be looking digitally. And with the way that the algorithms work, they look at buckets. So 30 days, 14 days, 7 days, 90 days. It's always changing. I don't know them exactly, but I know that the longer term buckets do have relevance because I've seen products at the end of their product life cycle whose price will triple and their conversions will kill, but they'll still be ranking for a lot of these keywords because they have this built-in and ingrained thing. So, I mean, if these long discontinued products are able to sell and continue to rank, if you keep yours up to date and keep all of your customers happy and keep enhancing it, you're going to be able to keep your ranking and then grab some of this digital real estate. Now, why is it important to grab all of this? Well, because it's going to increase over time, okay? So eventually, everybody right now has been benefiting from the fact that it's a rising sea, okay? There's always more and more Amazon customers coming on. But what happens when there's a day that there's none? Okay, just like in America back in the days, there was always people going out west, so you could keep getting real estate and land, and it was cheap. But eventually, there's everybody's on it. Okay, so that's why it's still in this golden era, because there's just this never-ending land of creating new markets as well as new customers. So that's where this is the golden era right now. Now, here's the thing. So right now, there's literally just more and more real estate being made because of expanding customers. But there's always going to be new real estate being made because there's new markets. So that's where there will always be opportunity, but the opportunity won't be as great several years out as the whole world becomes more but I mean, we've still got maybe 5 years until that happens. So I believe at least for the next 2 years, I don't see any downside. There's going to be a rising sea for everybody, as well as new markets being made. So this is just a huge disruption. But as it goes on, eventually it tops out. And guess what? Then the only thing is people are willing to spend more and more until eventually margins become zero. But we're still in that opportunity where people, they could make more money doing something else. So 30% ROI, I don't want to do that. But somebody else will take it. So, or work harder. So we're in this golden era where this real estate, you can still go grab it. But if you hold on to it and make something great for that real estate, it's going to appreciate and pay dividends. So yeah, you do everything right. You could sell it, keep there, make money at the same time. And that's what I think is valuable about this, just the most undervalued real estate, except maybe parts of social media and getting people's attention and respect on there. That's a real estate game too, all in itself. So, but I hope that you guys kind of think about this more of the, just think about the long-term value, not short-term of, oh, I broke even, I didn't make any money. Well, you've gotten your way to building up those keyword ranking, and if you had a good product, selling at break even, and then eventually you raise it and you're starting to make money, and then great, now you've built up all these valuable assets and made money. So people will lose money or go cash flow negative on houses, because they know that they're getting appreciation and paying down that mortgage. Now, maybe there's actually money coming out of their pocket the whole time, but they know at the end of the day, they're going to be ahead, 2-3 years out from now. So this is probably the best business opportunity where you can grow your money. Go and ask any real estate investor if you could make 400% ROI on your money in a year, if they would do it like consistently. They would love that. They make like 10-15% a year and they're happy with that. So now there's other ways that they make money with debt and leveraging, so they can make more cash on cash value, but we're not going to go into that. The end of the day is this is very undervalued real estate, and don't discount it, and don't be afraid that it's going to go away, but it will go away eventually, or just become more. It'll become fairly priced. Okay, right now it is so underpriced, and that's why you can put in the work and go grab some of it, and eventually somebody else will realize that, or you'll just make the dividends from it while it's underpriced. So just for an example, if you think about the real estate charts, so if it's a very profitable market and there's going to be consistent demand for a long time, eventually everybody realizes the true value of it, and they keep, like, a bigger investor will come in and be willing to pay more for it, because if it yields dividends and appreciates over time, then what a better investment to put your time into. So this is why brands are going to be bought out for large amounts in the future, and people are going to be willing to lose more to get these spots, because these spots for certain keywords and markets are worth so much. So, I mean, here's just a chart of Seattle real estate over time. Now, I do think it is quite an unsustainable graph, but guess what? There's a constant demand from high-paid tech individuals in the Seattle area, and there's only so much land. Okay, so eventually the land stops expanding, and then if there's that demand there and it's valuable, then the price keeps going up. So as long as there's money to be made in a market, the top spots are going to be worth a lot, because it just goes to show, like, so essentially you can imagine this will be the price to pay for the first spot on a search result as time goes on, with PPC bids and everything, as the true value becomes determined. If we could go back now, essentially the same thing has existed in the San Francisco area for housing. It's just, it went up, it goes up and down, but there's just a constant, it's valuable, and there's only so much of it. So I mean, obviously these people need it for different reasons than this digital real estate, but I'm trying to just get across the point that there's only so much of this. And if it is a profitable niche, bigger pockets come in over time and are willing to spend because they know it's valuable and it's limited. So go in there and try to grab land before it gets expensive. And each market is different, just like the housing market, but your goal is to find maybe the new and upcoming ones in the housing, like there's new and upcoming areas in housing where demand has changed, like Denver recently, that whole area. So you could go and then find the new markets and go grab that real estate while it's cheap, and then get that appreciation and the dividends that it pays. So, all right. So one other key concept to think about on Amazon is that while you could get one piece of property, like let's say you were at the Mall of America, or, in a place that you thought was going to be appreciating over time, you want to grab as much of that real estate as possible. Now, this is what all the biggest brands in the world will do. So if we look at Facebook, yeah, they just started out as Facebook, but then they realized Instagram was coming, and they were in the real estate of digital attention, which is a very valuable asset. So they bought up Instagram for $1 billion, maybe $2 billion. And at the time, a lot of people thought they were crazy. But then, maybe 2 years later, they bought WhatsApp for $18 billion. I still really don't understand how they monetize WhatsApp, but that's a whole nother discussion. This is what the biggest brands will do. So in the group of people that are consuming social media, they are trying to grab all of that attention so that, if they want to go on Facebook and connect with people, they can get them. Or if they're getting people that are doing more pictures and videos, they'll be on Instagram, and you'll see that Instagram just added Instagram TV to try to grab the long form video format. And then WhatsApp, of course, and messaging. So they want to control that whole area. Now, Coca-Cola does this also. So most people think they have Coke, but they also have water brands, just Dasani, I think. Don't hold me accountable to that. But then they have Monster, they have Sprite, they have so many more. And I was even reading it. I think they have Bacardi too. So they're literally getting the whole drink market. So what you can do though, so essentially you want to grab as much of this real estate as possible. So maybe, because there's obviously different niches within each individual market. But if you grab as much of that real estate as possible, you can really establish yourself as a valuable brand. And I guess the best example of this is going to be Anchor. So let's go and I'll just show you how much of that real estate they've grabbed. All right, so when we look at Anchor, they originally started out in about 2012 as just a replacement laptop battery. So they started to go into the whole charging niche over time. So I mean, if we look up now, they have the Apple cell phone chargers. So they're on here, but they don't just have one. So let's see how many times Anchor shows up here. So they have the top one there. Looks like they don't have any more there, but if you go to power bank, they just took over the power bank market, and they're the one that I trust the most. But essentially, there's people who are looking for more hardcore within this niche, but then there's also people wanting more portable one that still is a pretty good quality brand. So that there's still those people who want a more economic, smaller one within the niche. So if you just look at how many Anchor is ranking for on this page, they're 1, 2, 3, 4. So, they're even the super small. So they're just taking up literally as much real estate as possible to establish themselves as the brand leader and to serve the whole market and make the most out of it. So you definitely want to be taking over your niche. And this is what I did with the solar eclipse. I took over 44 different SKUs. I took every person into account, the professional photographer. I also took into account big groups like schools and governments, and then also was taking care of those individuals who wanted the highest quality product, also people looking at telescopes. So I took over the entire niche. Now, was I the highest seller on any individual ASIN? No, I wasn't. But I had the widest reach. And by doing that, I didn't need to be the best seller because I was just all over the place. And while there was one guy who just crushed it having the top ASIN, I found success by just serving everybody. So, one SKU is not going to serve everybody in a market unless it's a very, very specific market. But so there's always room to serve everybody out. So as you go on time, try to grab as much real estate as possible, because I bet even if we go into Anchor here now, look, there's not only that, but then they can upsell their other stuff like their other cords and their other cases, and then they will also have who bought this also bought others, so there's other Anchor products. And then you will also get the ability to cross promote your other products here, and then you can also do comparison once you get brand registry. So you're just getting so much real estate, because somebody might click on yours and be like, I want a smaller one, but now they'll see, Anchor does have other options. And so by grabbing as much of the market as possible, you are getting as many impressions and potential buyers as possible. So go out there and grab some of this real estate while it's cheap. Now, I don't suggest you try to go grab the power bank market because it's already been taken, but find your place where you can grab some real estate before it gets too expensive.